Hello, it's Caroline from the Benicia Public Library, and today I'm here to show you what we have included in our November craft kits. So, one of the activities this month is designing your own puzzle. The way this works, we've included a sheet that basically looks just like this. Yours might be yellow, it might be a different color. That's okay, it works either way. What you want to do is flip it over and draw a picture on the other side. So this is a picture I drew. I love great white sharks, so I have a nice happy smiling shark right there. A little airplane in the sky, it looks like it's sunset. Now, what I wanted to make sure you notice is that when I drew this picture, I drew all around this paper, and you can sort of see the puzzle pieces shining through. The important thing about coloring this in is that you want to make sure there's something drawn on every piece of this puzzle. Otherwise, if you just draw something really tiny in the middle, it's going to be hard to put this puzzle together. So yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine. You could really do whatever you want, but make sure that you draw all over that paper. So after you draw it, you flip it back over and you see all those dark puzzle piece lines, and you take your scissors and just cut out the puzzle pieces. Now, it's okay if you don't cut exactly on the lines. Do your best, but if you don't get it perfectly perfect, it will still work as a puzzle because it'll fit together the way that you cut it. So do your best to copy these lines, but don't be upset if it's not exactly perfect. Now, you could even draw another picture on this side, and then that way you'd have like a two-sided puzzle. That's the first craft. We also have a cut and paste cornucopia. What is a cornucopia? You've probably seen them before. It's this horn-shaped kind of basket, and then lots of produce like vegetables and fruit go inside and they kind of spill out. So what you can do is color in the corn, the apples, the pumpkin, and the pear, color the cornucopia, and then you can cut them out. If you want, you can cut on these dotted lines that are very simple to cut. You could even cut the shape itself on the thicker black lines. And when you're done, it will probably look something like this. There's one more optional cut you can do. If you notice inside the cornucopia, there's a line there. If you decide to cut that line, you might need a little bit of help. It's sort of hard to cut the inside of a shape sometimes. If you cut that line, that will allow you to make it look like some of the vegetables and fruit are coming from inside. So that's why you would cut that line. But that's optional. You don't have to do it that way. You can glue or tape them on top of the opening and it'll look just as good. So that is our second craft. Our third craft is a pumpkin pie slice, or it could be a sweet potato pie if that's what you like. The materials for that, we gave you a piece of a plate, a piece of brown paper, kind of a long strip like this, some orange paper, and a little piece of white crepe paper or creepy paper. And I will show you in a minute how to make that. So let's ignore that for 1 second. We also included 2 coloring sheets, so you get to color these in with whatever you like, colored pencils, crayons, markers. And this one says, I am thankful for. So on this one you can draw in the middle something that you're thankful for. All right, let's go ahead and make that pumpkin pie slice. So what you're gonna wanna do, you'll need all those materials I just showed you, the papers and the slice of the plate. And you will also want some glue or tape. I have a glue stick here. And you could also grab some scissors, or you could just use your hands to tear. It's really optional. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with my brown paper. This is gonna be the crust. And I'm gonna use scissors and I'm gonna cut this brown paper into little squares of brown paper. So I just cut these 3 little pieces and I'm gonna cut that whole strip. Give me just a moment to cut all of those. And I like cutting the brown paper so it kind of has like a nice crisp line, but if you wanted to just rip it into small squares, that is totally up to you. Okay, I am nearly done. So the brown paper, I might have already said it, but this will be the crust of our pie. So now that I've cut that entire paper into little squares, I'm going to take my glue stick and I'm going to apply some glue to the edge of my plate, kind of along where the crust of a pie might be. So I'm just gonna put the glue there first. Again, you could also use tape, or you could use regular glue that's not a glue stick, just kind of the goopy kind. Anything that'll make it stick. All right, so now that I have glue all along that plate, I'm gonna take my brown pieces of paper, the little squares that I just cut, and I'm gonna press them along the top. So give me a moment just to get all of those in place. And if your glue dries and you need to apply more glue, that is totally fine. It's not a race to finish it. Well, right now I'm trying to do it fast because I don't want this video to be too long. All right, so I have just about finished adding little squares of brown crust across the top of that pie, and voila. There's my crust, and I still have some brown squares left over, so if I wanted to, I could even add a few more, kind of an inner layer. But now I want to get to the pumpkin or sweet potato. So with the orange square, what you're going to want to do is break this into a lot of little pieces. So this one you could also cut up, but I'm actually going to rip this up into little tiny pieces because I just really like ripping paper. And you can rip them really, really tiny. You can make bigger rips. It's really kind of however you're feeling. It's sort of satisfying to rip paper, so you know, just have fun with it. I'm ripping these in a little bit bigger pieces just because I don't want to take forever ripping these up. All right, I think this is pretty good, and I can rip them smaller in a minute if I decide to. But here's what I've ended up with. If you can sort of see, now I have all these little ripped pieces of paper. So I'm going to do the same thing on my slice. I'm going to apply these. So I'm going to take my glue stick and put glue all over the rest of my slice of plate. And I suspect I'm going to have to add more glue in a little bit. Okay. Something, especially if you rip the paper like I did, you'll notice that some sides are ripped and sort of uneven, but you'll still have a straight edge on the outside of that square that we gave you. So if you want, you could use that straight edge to have it go along the straight edge of the slice. That's totally optional, but since you're going to have some straight edges in there, especially if you cut up the orange paper, you might as well have it kind of line up with where there's a straight edge anyway. But other than that, you can sort of just apply this paper all over the bottom of this slice. So I'll show you what I've got so far. I've got several more pieces of paper that I'm just going to keep adding on here. I'm going to add a little more glue. All right, so I'm nearly done adding the pumpkin to my pie. Okay, great. This is much easier and faster than making a real pie, in my experience. Okay, now I haven't totally filled this edge here, so give me just one more moment to add some more there. The slice of plate that you get might be totally white, or it might have those leaves like mine did. Either way works because you can cover it up with the orange and the brown. All right, just a few more pieces. This is looking good. This is making me want to get some pie. I don't know about you, but I think pie is delicious. Okay, I did this a little bit fast, so some of my pieces are a tiny bit loose. I might go back through and glue them better in a little bit, but here is more or less the finished pumpkin. So I've got my crust, I've got my pumpkin. Again, if you have some areas that are still showing through, you can use some extra pieces of brown paper if you still have some to cover those up. And all right, the final finishing touch that is super delicious on real pumpkin pie is the whipped cream. So that's what the little piece of white crepe paper is for. What you're going to do is pretend this is a little dab of whipped cream, and you're going to just crumple it into a little ball, sort of like this, if you can see what I've done there. And then I'm going to take my glue or my tape, whatever I'm using, and just put a bunch of glue on it and dab it right in the middle of my slice of pie. So that's our pumpkin pie craft. and I've shown you the cornucopia. I've shown you the puzzle, although my puzzle is still not cut out. And then I showed you the coloring pages. So those are all of our activities for our November craft kit. If you are signed up to pick up your craft kit at the library, you are welcome to come to the door by the fountain any Friday this month between 2 and 5, and we will be there to pass them out, except for November 27th. The day after Thanksgiving, the library will be totally closed, so don't come that Friday. But any other Friday this month, you are welcome to come pick those up. If you've signed up to have your packet delivered, we will deliver that or even mail it to you this month. All right, and if you're not yet signed up for our craft kits, you can sign up through our website. Thank you for watching this video. I hope all of these crafts are fun to make, and I will see you later. Bye.